Hey, teacher candidates. So I want to talk a bit about the comprehensive unit format uh, that you are going to follow in designing your UBD unit plan, and that will eventually also be the format you follow for your evidence for the state, um, evidence 3. So the version of the unit format that I put up on Moodle, I highlighted these things in yellow because they're the things that I want you to focus on for this class. So you'll notice that I'm not asking you to write this rationale because uh, you'll have an opportunity to do that when you're in your methods course. And some of this stuff is knowledge that you will develop and have a better understanding of having taken that methods course or being in the process of it. So you are not expected to write the long rationale for the unit. Also, just so you know, don't worry about these numbers. These are indicators of different skills that you're supposed to have as teacher candidates. And that's more sort of for us, the teacher educators, than it is for you to worry about at this point. So, you know, you do need to have your unit is you're imagining teaching it to a particular grade and a particular class in terms of a subject. So that is required. You may uh, choose to just do whatever grade and subject your field placement is associated with, but it does not have to be that way. I'll talk a little bit more later about how this unit, mini unit plan that you design is not something that you're going to fully teach in your field placement this semester anyway. So if it will be helpful for you to set it at the grade level and in the content where your field placement is, go for it. But you're not limited only to that. So in terms of the standards, you do need to connect to state and or national standards. So if you're from North Carolina and or are thinking about teaching in North Carolina, I would encourage you to look at the state standards as that would be beneficial for you. And almost all of you will likely student teach in North Carolina. So even if you're not planning to stay in North Carolina after you leave Elon, it will be good for you to know something about the standards that we have here in North Carolina. In some cases, those are the quasi-national Common Core standards. In some content areas, they have national standards that are not binding to the states, and so those can be helpful for you to look at as well. Uh, so obviously you need a title for your unit that should be related to the big idea. It's a helpful reminder to you and to the students of what we're all about in this unit. And then this idea of the unit having an essential understanding should be familiar to us, having read Wiggins and McTighe. So you'll see that a lot of this comprehensive unit format is informed by the Wiggins and McTighe approach to understanding by design. So that is not coincidence. So you should see a lot of familiar terminology here. The mini unit is only 5 lessons, and so you're not going to have multiple big ideas. In your methods course, you're going to design a unit that will be a little longer, that might have more than one big idea. But a common mistake that novice teachers make is biting off too much. So less is often more, focusing on fewer things and doing them well as a teacher can often be the more productive approach. So you get one essential understanding for this mini unit that you're designing for this course. Um, I'm not going to say anything more about that at this point. Um, so the next three boxes, you have knowledge, skills, and dispositions. And these boxes, the size of the boxes doesn't necessarily indicate how much stuff is likely to go into them. So the essential understanding box there above it is a bigger box because it takes longer to explain what an essential understanding is. But you are just going to have one essential understanding where in terms of knowledge or skills, you may have quite a few in those two boxes. And then dispositions, this could be something that you include, or it could not be. So it's not 100% required that you have dispositions, but do think about it and make an informed decision about whether or not you feel like dispositions are something that you're going to focus on or pay attention to in your unit. And then next up, you will have the objectives for your 5 lesson plans. And so just these would sort of break down how you're going to get to your essential understanding and might break up into chunks the knowledge and the skills that you're going to work on over the 5 lessons. So lay out just the objectives here, and then in separate pages you'll have the individual lesson plans that we'll talk a little bit more about later. Differentiation is, I do want you to make some reference to how you're differentiating your unit. Uh, it's a shorter unit, and I don't expect you guys to be super expert on differentiation yet. It's a complicated thing. It's a big task to undertake, and you'll learn more about it in your methods class. But let's have some differentiation in our unit plan. So all of the kids should not be doing the same things all of the time. So quick definition of differentiation, if you've not been exposed to it in other classes, is it is varying the process, the product, or the content of the class based on student interest or needs. So include some degree of differentiation in your unit. I do not expect you to have in all 5 of the lessons variation in all 3 of those areas: process, product, and content. And when we workshop these and work on your rough drafts, I will let you know in terms of are you moving towards enough differentiation in your mini unit. Lastly, for now, in terms of the comprehensive unit format, I do briefly just want to say about assessment that we need a little bit of formative and a little bit of summative for this mini unit. It's a short unit, so there's not going to be necessarily tons of assessment that you're going to do. And I do appreciate that most of you have not taken the assessment course yet. So I haven't highlighted these references to Form 1 and Form 2. Those are related to Evidence 5, the assessment evidence, which will be addressed in great detail in the assessment course. But I don't need you to use those specific forms at this point in time. I just need you to think as you approach your unit about having both formative assessment and summative assessment. And as we mentioned in class, the last time we were able to actually have class, formative assessment is assessment for learning. So it's a ongoing thing that happens in class, and is to give information to the teacher and the student about their progress towards the learning goals. And then the summative assessment is the assessment of learning. So that's when you are typically going to put a letter or a number grade that sort of summarizes the student's progress. Did they achieve the learning goals, the understanding goals for the unit? So moving on to the rubric that is also up on Moodle. This is the rubric that is used to assess Evidence 3, so the comprehensive unit plan when you do it in your student teaching. So this will be the final rubric that gets used at that point, and it lines up pretty well with the comprehensive unit plan document that we were just looking at. And so to pass for licensure, you need to be proficient in all of the different categories. So scrolling down, you'll see that it lines up with the different boxes in the comprehensive unit plan, and you just have to get proficient in every single category. If you are developing in any individual category, then you have not passed that evidence. You If you reach accomplished, congratulations. It is unlikely that you would get accomplished on many of these. So the nature of the rubric is that accomplished would be pretty rare for most pre-service teachers to be able to attain. So you might get a few accomplished, but in most cases, proficient is where you will likely be. So you will remember that I have highlighted parts of the comprehensive unit plan. So when I assess you for this class and your mini unit plan, for example, I will not assess you in terms of the rationale because I'm not asking you to do that. And so this rubric it will be scaled back a little bit in some places. So when I apply it to this mini unit of yours, but I did want you to see the rubric that will be used to assess your final evidence. And really, because this is a first try at it, proficient, it would just is all we really need to worry about. So don't fret at this point about accomplished and trying to get there. And it would actually not be a crisis or not be all that surprising if at this point you got developing on a couple of these items, just because this is your first go at creating a unit plan. And so the thing we want to do is sort of identify, maybe through this first go, where you do need to improve when you design a unit in your methods course.